Hello, beautiful souls. I am very excited to be on here. I just wanted to share a quick video for the collective because I know, as a lot of us light workers are kind of doing right now, we've really all been kind of withdrawing, focusing on our own energies, a lot of self-care, as well as kind of mainly focusing on the energies of ourselves and those that are close to us, like close family, close friends. Obviously there's a lot of collective shit still going on. So it doesn't mean that we're not helping or focusing on the collective. It just means that we're serving from a stance of putting ourselves first. And so first of all, I just want to validate that that is very important to be okay with right now. Just be okay with the fact that it's okay to focus on yourself. It's okay to serve yourself, because really it's going to be serving a lot of other individuals in the long run, even more so than if you kind of spread yourself too thin right now. But for the collective, the main energies is the reason that most of us are being drawn to focusing on ourselves right now is because the shifts that are occurring, it's not like a shift is coming. There's constantly a shift happening. Our consciousness is constantly raising more and more every single day. And especially now that we're all consciously choosing to work with energies, and that might look different for everyone. Everyone works with energies or healings in a different way. Just by saying yes to that. Yes, I'm ready, even if I don't fully understand what this shift means. I'm ready to shift with the collective. And I understand now that I'm choosing to do that by starting by shifting myself. I'm making big, important adult decisions to play more, to be more loving, to be more, to slow down, to really be present with myself. It's funny, all of us adults are making a conscious decision to be more innocent, to be more like our inner children. But that's an adult decision we made. It's not a naive decision. And so what that energy does, that comes from more of the female logic of all of us, that female side that we all have, every single male, female, we all have a male and a female aspect of ourselves. And so you hear that this is really about the divine feminine movement, the ascension into the golden age or the divine feminine age. And that's true because what that means is we're all using that female right brain aspect or heart consciousness. And that allows us to be more innocent and to use those inner children techniques that I was mentioning earlier. And so when you say yes to working with the feminine energy of the collective and as the feminine energy of yourself, when you say yes to that, it bypasses the logic. I talk about this every time, but it bypasses the logic that most of the collective is stuck within. That duality, that patriarchal male logic thinking of having to understand everything and go about things the same way they've been done, and just the way of being super strong, having to keep yourself super safe, super hidden from the world. That old part that we don't need to go far into, but when you bypass that and you just say yes to working with this more joyful, fun energy, even if it triggers those around you, because a lot of people are still stuck in that, I wouldn't say lower mindset, but the older ways of doing things, which is fine. To them, that's perfect. So no judgment there. But when you say yes, and enough of us are collectively saying, yes, I'm ready for this new shift, even though I fully don't understand what it is or what I need to do. I just know I'm going to focus on what my heart's feeling good, and on what my heart isn't wanting. And as soon as you say yes to that, that collective shift accelerates our consciousness so much faster than before, because we're all saying a collective yes to the same thing, which is love. So love is just not a cliche anymore. And I know I've talked about this so many times and it's never been a cliche, but we're understanding the power of it right now. I talked about that a few videos ago. Is the galaxy is in awe of the human race, because first of all of us aren't even fully human. We're understanding that, but we're embodying a human avatar, a human vessel right now. And with all of our internal structures, our soul, all past or parallel future lifetimes that we've had, we're calling all of that back into this one body, and we're doing that with love. And when you do that with love, it shifts an entire planet. And the fact that we can shift this entire collective frequency by being in our feminine divine love that's already within us and just letting that shine brighter, that's why we're just being watched with so much curiosity and so much love, because we don't realize how powerful we are. And so first of all, start tapping into that. That's the main thing too they wanted to say, is understand all of this divine love, this unconditional love, source energy that you hear all about all the time. You don't need to attract any of that to you. You need to understand right now that that is already inside of you. That never went away, that never diminished or got smaller. All that it was is that you weren't choosing to focus on it. There's no blocks, no attachments. It's always going to come out. It's just what you choose to allow your consciousness to focus on. And it's not your fault if you've been focusing on things outside of this unconditional divine love. But even by you hearing it and you hear the word unconditional divine love or divine love, when you hear that, feel what your heart chakra does, because it's there. It goes, oh, they're talking about me. Like, that frequency has never left you. It never got smaller. Everyone's like, I need to go through so many healings. I need to fix myself before I can feel love. It's like, no, you're just choosing, and there's no judgment on that. And of course, it's so beneficial to get these healings, especially with traumatic or trauma events that may have occurred with you. But that doesn't mean the love went anywhere. That just means that the trauma or things you're choosing to focus on are getting bigger because you're choosing to focus on those rather than that love that's still inside of you, that never left you. Does that make sense? Allow what they're wanting me to get on today to talk about is allow that love to shine through. Allow that love to speak louder than the ego. Allow that love that has never left you. You don't need to attract more of it to you. You can continue to attract it to you naturally by just tapping into it, but that'll happen. You don't have to worry about that. You have to just choose with your free will, with your conscious attention. You focus on the divine love within you. You don't even have to know what that looks like. You don't have to know what that feels like. Again, this is the female logic way of doing things. It's just being like, I'm just saying yes to this. I'm just going to choose. What would today feel like? What would today be like if I just chose to only work from the space of unconditional divine love? Allowing that divine love, I can pull it in from a source energy, which is you. You are source. You can either picture like you're pulling it in from an outside source energy, that unconditional source from a different dimension, but that might be confusing for some people. So it's much easier, which I talk about, to focus on what's already inside of you. So your heart chakra, there's a tiny space in your heart, the sacred space of your heart, the tiny space of your heart that holds the creation energy, that holds that manifestation, unconditional divine love, God, source, Sophia energy. That's literally inside of your heart. That's this tiny space of your heart, and it creates this huge toroidal field that goes about 60 feet outside of you. The heart creates a larger sphere around you than your own body does. So our bodies have an outside aura or a Merkaba, and our hearts have that as well. And the heart creates a massive one. You've heard me talk about the omega sphere. And you're supposed to kind of match and align your omega sphere to Mother Earth's light body. So setting that intention as well. But the more that you work with unconditional divine love, that's all going to happen naturally. You already know how to do all of this. You've done it so many lifetimes. You would not be on this planet if you couldn't do this. That is what our guides in every single session say that. They're like, we would not have sent you here if you couldn't do this. You were the version of your families of light, of your teams of light that could handle popping down into this low duality, dense consciousness form of this world. And we knew that we could consciously handle that. We were those brave light warriors that knew that we could handle this. So don't play small anymore. Do not keep telling yourself that you can't do this, that you can't handle it. I am not saying to not validate your feelings, because fear and stress and anxiety, especially with your own personal lives or with what's going on in the collective, is so normal and so natural. And you're supposed to validate those. You're not supposed to send those emotions away. You're supposed to work with them and actually use them to help you. They're not doing anything to harm you. They're not trying to mess up your life. They're just doing their job. And so the more that you choose to focus on, the more you just have to be very conscious about what you choose to focus on is the thing today. So mainly let's focus on that internal unconditional divine love, and allow your body every single morning, allow yourself to just breathe. My team calls it breathing spherically, or how I explain that is just breathing in and out the same amount of time. The Tibetans, all of the monks, they really use 6 seconds. So really slowing your breath. So 6 seconds minimum, because it really puts you into that alpha theta state of your brain waves. That will really slow you down so that your body can expand to what it's actually supposed to be at. Again, that's the left male part of me that likes to explain that. The right female logic is just breathe the same amount of time in and out. When you do that and you allow only through your nostrils, and when you breathe in, it's called the Buddha breath, and when you breathe in 6 seconds, really slow, you allow your stomach to expand first, and then your lungs and chest as you breathe in. And then you don't hold it at the top. Immediately start to breathe out. And when you breathe out, allow your chest to exhale first and kind of contract in, and then your belly. Does that make sense? So on the breath in, your belly expands first, and then your chest, kind of when you like are picture like it's filling up like a balloon. And then when you exhale, the chest contracts first and then the belly. That will take a little bit of practice, but that's called the Buddha breath. That's what they all use, and it really shifts you into that state of alpha theta again, or just complete bliss, complete relaxation. And what you'll start to realize, it's a really fun. Do that breathing technique, breathing in and out for at least 14 breaths. First of all, you're really going to find those parts of you that might be really impatient. That was what I did. I was like, this is taking too long. Like, what? I do readings, but 14 breaths was too long. Like, what? So that helped me look at parts of myself that I still had to work with. But besides that, when you start doing that, after about 14 breaths, and while you're breathing, setting the intention to connect to that unconditional divine love that's already inside of you, I just keep grabbing my heart because it's just wanting to burst out to all of you. I hope you're feeling it right now. I'm sending my unconditional divine love from source energy through my heart to all of your heart chakras right now. So just first of all, allow that to kind of activate and update and up level you. Accept what's trying to come your way. You understand this love is always coming your way. You just might just not be letting it in because you're choosing to focus on other things, but you're never not attracting it. Does that make sense? Because that's still inside of you. What's inside of you is always attracting things to you. So what happens is you'll start allowing that unconditional divine love after those 14 breaths to really begin to spread to every cell of your body. And when that happens, that really shifts you into a state of your higher self taking over. And then it's as if you're being breathed. It's a very kind of trippy feeling, so be okay with it. You're so safe, you're so loved. It's your higher self taking over, so you can feel your higher self. You might begin to see, if your eyes are closed, I do recommend an eye mask, but you might begin to see purples or greens especially. But those purples and blues, that's the violet light frequency of our higher self from our oversoul. You're just beginning to connect into it. You're seeing it. It's always been there. You're just seeing it now because you're slowing down with it. And then it's as if you're being breathed. Your higher self's doing your breathing for you. You will realize you won't really have to focus on breathing in and out for the same amount of time. It'll just start happening naturally because it's just your higher self taking over. So any trance channelers out there, I know you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so that's a really fun exercise. Another thing they're wanting to focus on right now is grounding, because as a collective, we've kind of lost our roots. There's a lot of stuff breaking down. So we're supposed to not feel that grounded right now. Most of the collective isn't feeling grounded. All of us who are focusing every day on grounding and working with energy, that's normal for us. We're used to having to ground every day, but setting a really clear intention and focusing with your conscious attention on, I need to ground right now. Because what's happening is we're really in this collective shift of stabilizing our energies. We're meant to stabilize what's happening. Because a lot of people are feeling lost. And this is a huge purpose of why all of us came here, especially any grid workers out there. What grid workers do is they bring strength either to the collective grids or the individual grids. So it doesn't really matter whether it's collectively or individually right now, because there's so much happening on both levels that basically setting the intention to ground every day, or telling those loved ones around you to ground, even if that means people who aren't open to, when they go, what's grounding, just go on a walk with them barefoot, sit with them outside, even though it might be cold. I've been trying that, but just getting your bare feet on the ground is very beneficial for individuals who aren't super conscious in regards to how to ground every single morning, but just help your loved ones do that. But you yourself as well, those watching this video, highly recommend grounding, bare feet on the ground. But what we're doing is we're stabilizing the collective. We're allowing ourselves to stand firmly, yet lovingly. That's what's happening. Because everyone's feeling very detached, and we have to be those strong anchors for the collective consciousness to still feel somewhat safe. They'll be like, I feel like I'm falling off the earth, what's happening? And then they look at someone who's very grounded and they go, okay. And their body just matches and mirrors that. Like, I'm okay. You're going to be okay. But we're reestablishing that connection to our earth, to our new earth. So new earth is here. New earth is happening. We're all on that bridge I talked about, and we're just learning how to anchor onto it. So grounding is very beneficial. It's also going to allow you to take ownership over your own energies again. Now we're not in the process of pulling in other people's energies and trying to transmute other shit that we don't need. We're in the process of just radiating out our own energy, which is just pure love, pure unconditional divine love from source that we are, and allowing that to be reestablished into the collective is very beneficial. So tending to your roots, getting bare feet on the ground, standing very firm on any decisions that you're making so that your consciousness on a physical, mental, and emotional level kind of feels stable as well. But the earth's assisting us. There's so many souls out there assisting us, so we're not alone. Just stay in your hearts, okay? I love you all so much. Talk to you soon.